Glamorgan remained on top of Lancashire at the halfway stage of an absorbing LV County Championship contest in Colwyn Bay. The home side resumed on the second morning of this match with a total of 110 for 4, which left them only 13 runs behind their visitors, and it was hard work for the Glamorgan batsmen Murray Goodwin and Jim Allenby as the Lancashire attack threw everything at them first up. Both batsmen stood firm, however, and occasionally found something loose to hit, especially Allenby. While Goodwin defended as if his life depended on it, the all-rounder played some flourishing strokes, dominating the scoring early on. Every run was fought for, something the Welshmen had to do as they tried to build as big a lead as possible. This pair did at least survive for the first 11 overs of the morning, in taking the total to 156 for a lead of 33. In that time, Allenby had taken his overnight score of 10 to 46, but he was then pounced by Stephen Croft at mid-wicket as he tried to take on Simon Carrigan. Mark Wallace lasted only 2 balls, Carl Brown reading the batsman's thoughts perfectly and snaffling him at short leg. What Glamorgan didn't need now was to collapse and lose their advantage, and the hard-working Goodwin, in his best innings for his new county, saw to that. However, he lost his partner John Glover with a total of 174, Carrigan winning the LBW decision for his 4th wicket of the innings. He couldn't get shot of Goodwin though. The Zimbabwean scored a hatful of runs in his many successful seasons at Sussex, but after hitting only 360 runs for that county at an average of 16 in the Championship last year, he moved to Wales, and how Glamorgan were happy about that, as Goodwin kept this particular innings going. The lead now stood at 80 when Carl Hogg claimed the 8th wicket, Dean Kosker the man to go, LBW for 10. 10 was also the number of runs scored by Michael Hogan, who got there with his spanking 6 off Carrigan. But he was soon the 9th man out at 227, Hogg with the wicket again as the Australian sliced a big hit to Brown. Goodwin though was still there. By now he'd reached his first 50 as a Glamorgan player, made from 105 balls including 7 fours, and he hadn't quite done yet as he carried his side 119 runs ahead of Lancashire. In spite of that, he was annoyed to get out, playing Hogg back onto his stumps, but he guided his side through to a first innings total of 242. Lancashire had knocked off only 9 runs of their deficit when Luke Proctor edged this ball from Hogan behind. It was an ideal start for the Welshmen, who were looking to make it 2 wins on the bounce, having recently defeated Worcestershire by 10 wickets in Cardiff. But they were kept waiting for a while for their next success by Paul Horton and Brown, who ground every run out, with these boundaries being an exception rather than the rule. It was tough going for the visitors, who were battling really hard to try to restore some form of parity in this game. But Glamorgan were back on top when both men fell in the space of 3 overs. Horton on 24 nicked Michael Reid to Wallace, while Brown, after making 13, was bowled by an inducker from the excellent Hogan. That left Lancashire on 49 for 3, still 70 runs adrift of their hosts. But in Ashwell Prince and Simon Katic, they have 2 international players who've seen it all before. With these 2 together, there was still every chance that Lancashire could turn their fortunes around here. They began this season as the team to beat in Division 2, and Glamorgan was straining every sinew in order to do that. Katic in particular mastered Wallace's bowlers for more than an hour, and both batsmen would have dreamt of going to the day's end with their wickets intact. Between them, they added 52 runs in 23 overs and seemed to have done their job for now. But Hogan hadn't finished yet, and when Prince padded up to the wrong ball and was LBW for 25, Glamorgan had finished the day off just as they would have liked. Katic and James Anderson survived the final few deliveries, but Lancashire still have a lot to do to save this game from here. With Katic still there on 28, the best score by any Lancashire man in this match, his side will resume on the 3rd morning on 104 for 4, still trailing by 15 runs.